What's up, everybody? Major Retired Richard Ojeda here, and Bill Barr is an opportunistic, money-hungry poodle that will bend knee, tuck tail, and grovel to any political strongman that he thinks will give him a ride on their coattails to filling his own pockets and visions of power.
I'll start with this. We got a 3-page single-space letter from President Trump about your book. This was in response to questions that NBC posed. I can't read the whole thing, but it's mostly personal insults. He called you slow and lethargic. He said you were so lazy and cowardly. He just never quite understood what was going on. He didn't want to stand up to the radical left Democrats because he thought the repercussions to him personally in the form of impeachment would be too severe. In other words, Bill Barr was a coward. All right, here's the guy you came out of private life to help, someone you stuck your neck out for. Do you have any reaction to that?
It's par for the course. I mean, the president is a man who, when he's told something he doesn't want to hear, he immediately throws a tantrum and attacks the person personally. So I thought the letter was childish.
The GQP is chock full of these kind of piranhas, and that's how they went from mocking and condemning Trump to falling on their faces and worshiping him while crapping all over our democracy.
Why didn't you speak out more forcefully right then and there, having told the president it's BS? Why didn't you say more right then and there to the American people about it?
Well, I did, as a member of the cabinet, say that to the press, and that was invoked all the way across the country that I was taking that position. And then on the press conference on the 22nd of December, my last full day at the department, I held a press conference and I reiterated it.
You said there's no evidence of widespread fraud. You didn't say, I think the president is dangerous. In fact, in your resignation letter, you wrote, I appreciate the opportunity to update you this afternoon on the department's review of voter fraud allegations. Now, here you know the claims are BS, your words, not mine. Why wouldn't you have said something? How do you write a letter like that leaves the impression that there might be something there?
Well, as you remember, there was basically an allegation du jour. I mean, it was like playing whack-a-mole. And, you know, there were questions being raised.
Yeah, but does that letter really reflect the spirit of what you knew to be true? It's dangerous and it's BS.
Well, I didn't say he was. I said he was acting in a dangerous way because he was not listening to advice from his advisors.
Like so many others before him, Barr has written a tell-all book of his experiences in the unprecedented corruption of the Trump criminal administration. And this is fine and dandy, but where were you, Billy Boy, when you could have done something to save the country while this was happening? Oh yeah, you put your job, your pocketbook, and your visions of grandeur above the good of the nation. And yes, you would have gotten blowback, and the GQP would have raked you across the coals in a game of dismissal and denial, just like they magically took back all their hardline convictions about how awful Trump was during the primaries. Their rhetoric changes to meet their own political needs. They would have grilled you then, but they're going to try to grill you now just the same. They'll try to dismiss all the claims that you say and say that you are pandering for money. And let's be honest, you are pandering for money.
Let's call it as you see it on election fraud. President Trump in this letter says you failed to investigate election fraud despite, quote, massive amounts of evidence. In point of fact, you did investigate once and for all. Did the president lose the election, or was it stolen or rigged by massive fraud?
Well, stolen and rigged are two different things, but there was no stealing of the election through fraud, which means, you know, that people who were not qualified to vote or didn't exist, their votes were counted, or that good votes were subtracted. The votes reflected the decision of the people.
It's no secret Trump's crime circle, the GQP, referred to as a presidency, was ripe with scandal. The entire saga was a disgrace to this country like never before seen. Everybody in power should use their power to defend their oath to the Constitution of this country and not to the crime boss in chief. Barr calls Trump dangerous, off the rails, and violent, and that was even an understatement, as Barr was further shocked by January the 6th. So here we have a picture, in Barr's own words and description, of a danger to the country. But old Billy Boy is more than happy to pledge his vote to Trump in 2024. As of right now, what an American. Talk about have your cake and eat it too. Fat old Billy's greed knows no bounds. On one hand, Trump is a maniacal, violent psychopath, but on the other, he's someone Billy's beaming with pride to give his vote to. After all, trying to subvert democracy in a violent coup is just a forgivable political maneuver, right? It's scum like Bill Barr and the hundreds of clones of himself in the GQP that poison politics. A single-minded, single-bodied institution of pure pure partisanship. All for one and one for all for political power, never the country. Quite the opposite. Division and hatred are the tools of their trade. Any honest, capable adult can take the Trump presidency at face value and see it was sacrilege to everything American. Only those twisted in the slimy goo of Republican partisan rhetoric and bootlicking can try to justify that abomination to themselves to sleep at night. Giving your democracy away to a moron, a narcissist, a psychopath, a con man, a violent criminal is either incredibly stupid or incredibly evil. But Bill Barr checks both blocks. Sappers clear the way, airborne all the way.